Hello, everybody. I have to wait for that little transition there. I was about to say hello before it finished. Oh, look. I've been working up here today, so I've had my chair higher. So I'll put that down a little bit. Let me just... There we go. Now I'm at a really bad height for my legs and back, but we'll fix it again after the stream. How is it going? You'll be pleased to know, big announcement today, bigger than quitting my job and going full-time FPL. I am basically an idiot, and I figured out a way to turn my light on every time manually without having to use an app. So no more issues with the light. I'm sure you're all great and happy and glad to hear about that. Otherwise, probably going to have to talk some FPL tonight. Abraham potentially injured. I've already seen plenty of questions about that. And I'm sure there's loads of other stuff. Aubameyang I've seen mentioned, so we'll talk about all that, of course. Before we jump into the stream, just quickly talk about the sponsor of this stream. OneFootball. Oh, come on. Oh, by the way, don't wear green with a green screen. I might have to take this off at some point. But thanks to OneFootball, they are sponsoring the stream once again right through November, which is really cool of them. If you've not already checked it out, link is in the description below. It's a completely free app. You can see it on the screen now, or just search OneFootball in your iOS or Android devices. Shout out to the guys that reached out to me. They're actually really sound. I know they watch the streams, which is cool. Because a lot of people that reach out to you about stuff like this are not great, I will say. But the OneFootball guys were awesome, which is why I checked out the app. It's really cool. So hopefully you get loads of live scores this weekend, showing you all your players that have scored from an FPL point of view. So check it out, completely free. No harm in giving it a go and seeing what you think. All right. How are we looking on the old green screen? Okay, it's not so bad because I'm smaller now. I'm keeping this on because it's not cold, but it ain't exactly summer anymore. So what should we talk about first? I guess Abraham, right? Because he's potentially injured, and obviously, what makes this trickier? Like if this was a normal game week, Saturday to Saturday, then the next game week was Saturday to Saturday, and the next one was Saturday to Saturday, we'd probably keep him because obviously 1 week out, you basically get almost a 2-week break, right? And only misses one game. But this time, there's 3 games in 7 days. So a little bit of worry. And one thing I'm going to do before we go any further is swap Maguire and Soyuncu because I will be inundated about questions for that. There we go. It's not that important, I don't think. Not at the moment, anyway. So yeah, obviously, there's potential for him to be out in the next game. I mean, the problem with doing Thursday streams is, of course, we don't know 100%. I'm sure Lampard will say more in his press conference about how bad it is. You know, is he going to come out and say he's absolutely going to play? Probably not, but he might play down the injury. But it's good that he and Abraham kind of came out afterwards and said it probably wasn't as bad as they first thought. It was obviously a bang on the hip. Now, I'm not a doctor. I think I said this in a video I did on Wednesday, or maybe it was on the Scout channel. I'm getting a bit confused now. But, you know, I don't know how bad a bang on the hip is. I'm sure you can get pretty bruised or whatever it might be. But it sounds better than a tear or anything else it could have been. I don't know if you can tear your hip, probably not. But a tear in a different muscle, I suppose. So he could be back. So let's see what Lampard says. If he says he's out, okay, let's talk about scenarios. Let's say he's out for 1 game. I will probably keep him. I've seen lots of people with Lundstrom asking whether they should bench Lundstrom or not. So if he's out for 1 week and you're already considering playing Lundstrom, or you're considering benching him but you're not sure about it, then you could just play. You could just play him instead of you play Abraham, and if he doesn't play, obviously then Lundstrom or whoever can come on. So for me, I'm not too sure about whether I should play Maguire or not. I know a lot of people think I shouldn't. I'm not going to get into that, to be honest. But him coming on for Abraham, I'd be okay with that, I think. So if it's 1 game, I'm going to probably look to get rid. If he's out for a week, then 1 week he's going to miss 3. He's going to miss 3 game weeks. So yeah, hopefully, as Harry says, no, not Harry, Simeon says, it's just a knock, hopefully, and he will play. So I'm probably not looking to get rid of him. If I did get rid of him, because I already own Jimenez and Vardy, I'd actually be pretty stuck with what to do. Yeah, 3 game weeks is a lot. Obviously, if he's out for a week, i.e. he'll be fine for next Saturday, and it's only 2 game weeks, sorry. But obviously, if it could be longer than a week, then he's potentially missing 3 plus game weeks, and that is a lot. I think the way to think about it is if Abraham was out for 3 game weeks over 3 normal weeks, we'd almost certainly get rid. The fact that it's Christmas and the game weeks are a quicker turnaround shouldn't really make any difference. So, I'm hoping most he'll miss this 1 game. I want to keep him. I think Chelsea got really good fixtures. I think if I could choose one Chelsea attacker right now, I'd probably choose Pulisic, to be honest. I think underlying stats looking good. He's in great form at the moment. Scored again in the Champions League as well. But Abraham is not far behind him. I know people have been talking. I've seen a few kind of tweets and stuff talking about his form. I think it's like 3 goals in 8 games or something. But in the league, he's got 4 attacking returns in the last 4 games. And obviously blanked against Man City. So he got 4 attacking returns in the previous 3 games. So it's pretty good form. In the last 6 games, he's only blanked twice. So, I mean, in the league, he's doing pretty decent. So, I'm not too worried about Abraham, to be honest. If he's out for more than 1 game, I'll probably get rid. I think I went off a tangent. And who would I get rid for? Obviously, already on Jimenez and Vardy. I said that already. Ings is a tempter. I can see why people want him. You just know that's going to be a transfer down the line through injury, more than likely, especially with so many games in a row. I think if I had 2 free transfers, I'd be tempted to just switch the money back into midfield and go Abraham to Pulisic and just go 3-5-2. Rashford is a potential option. I was chatting to Adam Hopcroft on Twitter today, kind of chatting, a few tweets. And I think the Spurs and Man City game kind of puts me off going to Rashford because the next 3 games aren't great. Villa's good, but then it's Spurs and Man City, so that will put me off a bit. Although Adam did make the point that obviously Man United are trying to play counter-attacking football, and that could work against the likes of Spurs and Man City. But you'd imagine the amount of goals they're going to score is going to be quite low. So that's kind of what puts me off Rashford short term at least. So yeah, I think Ings is definitely kind of flavour of the week, I would say. He's suddenly become a bit of a massive differential that people are looking at. So he's owned by 4.4%. I'll bring up his fixtures on the screen. So they're pretty good. Now, obviously, you've got to hope that he plays this many game week. Again, just to remind ourselves, what an idiot. What an idiot. Hang on. Let me get that production value back for you. Okay. Yeah, Game Week 14 is obviously Saturday. Game Week 15 is Tuesday. And Game Week 16 is the next Saturday. So that's his fixtures. Watford at home, obviously, that's a fixture that a lot of people have targeted this year and they've done well in. Norwich at home, decent. Newcastle away, I mean, I'm not sure that's the same. Like, when Rafa was there, I was always put off about attackers versus Newcastle away. And it's not to say they can't defend when they want to. I just don't think it's the same now. But it's an okay fixture. Then West Ham at home, decent, especially at the moment. Obviously, that could change by Game Week 17. Aston Villa away is decent as well. So that's a really... If Ings is going to get a lot of points, it's going to be in these fixtures. And as I tweeted out earlier... I've got to remember what I've got on the screen. Ings has actually done okay. He's on 58 points, which was 10 less than Jimenez. But he's played 300 less minutes. Now, fair point to what people made to me on Twitter. Obviously, one of the reasons he's played less minutes is because Jimenez isn't injury prone. Jimenez tends to play every single game and get good minutes. It's not what you get with Ings. But if there's a chance he can stay injury free for the next 3 to 4 game weeks and play kind of 70, 80 plus minutes a game, then he could be a really good option. So, yeah, that's a long way of saying I can see why people are going for Ings, and I think it's as good a time as any to jump on. And to be fair, he has played 7. He's basically started, he's played the last 7 games. The game against, without going to double check on it, he only played 45 minutes versus Leicester. I can't remember if he came on or went off. I'm guessing because they were getting smashed. He went off, didn't he? Because they were getting smashed so badly. I think they were down to 10 men as well. So he's basically started the last 7 games. And he's played 90 minutes twice, 80 plus minutes twice. 3 times even, sorry. So he's getting pretty good fixtures. Maybe it is worth a pump. Yeah, I had to remind myself there he went off for the red card. Because, what's his name? Rambo on the FPL FYI show triple captain him. Oops. I actually thought Ings was a good shot. I think I had Ings in my... Back when I was doing the points prediction video, I think I had him in that week. Do I think Kane is essential now that Mourinho has taken charge? Absolutely not. I don't think there's many essential players. I think there's players I look in my team that I really would not want to be going without. And those 2 are probably Mane and Vardy. And Jimenez, to be honest, is not too far behind given the great form he's in. Kane is not that man. I mean, I've spoken about Spurs quite a bit this week for obvious reasons. Everyone's quite excited about them. The likes of Son are similar prices to De Bruyne, Vardy, Lacazette. So there's a lot of love for him. Moore is obviously a bit cheaper. Ali's a bit more expensive than Moore, but cheaper than Son. In the really short term, like Bournemouth and Burnley at home are pretty good in the next 3. But Man United away, like that's a game I find difficult to pick how it will go. You look at Mourinho's first 2 games, he scored 7 goals. So they're quite attacking, you might say. Although one of those games was West Ham. And I don't think he's just going to sit back against Man United. He's probably going to want to counter-attack, just like Man United are. But would he be okay with a 1-0 win? Probably. Has he got the defence to get a 1-0 win? That's the story. Different story, sorry. So I don't know. I don't know how to call that Man United game. But obviously Man United not keeping too many clean sheets. So maybe that is an okay game. But in the next 5 for Spurs, it's Man United away, Wolves away, and Chelsea at home. I don't see huge scores in those games. So Kane would definitely not be essential for me. Not by any stretch, to be honest. But could he do well against Bournemouth and Burnley? Absolutely. I still just get drawn to Son, though, for less money. You know, we'll see how that works out. We've really got a very small sample size to go on with Spurs about exactly which players we should get. But I don't know. Kane's going to have to do something special, I think, for me to even consider paying like 11 million. Or is he even 11 now? He's probably 10.9, isn't he? 10.8. Wow. I need to put this chair up a bit. Jesus. I'm well too. Okay. Oh. Gonna have back problems tomorrow. Mane or Vardy? Look how awful Man United were in defence against Sheffield United. I agree. I do agree. But before that, they hadn't conceded more than 1 in a single game since Gameweek 6. So don't get me wrong, it is very bad to concede 3 to Sheffield United. Fair play, Mousse, great game. But they hadn't been conceding too many before then. So, could Spurs put 3 past Man United? Of course, but it's at Old Trafford. I wouldn't expect it. But who knows? I did see another question. Oh, yeah, Mane or Vardy. I mean, I'm kind of answering it. It should be Vardy, vice captain. But I'm kind of answering it on the screen. I find it hard to pick between Mane and Vardy this year. Everton are not in great form in terms of their performances. They think they've conceded in the last 4 games. Underlying stats are interesting. In terms of shots conceded in the box, I think they're bottom, from what I recall. So they're actually doing really well in terms of limiting the amount of shots that they are conceding. So perhaps they're being a little bit unlucky. But they're both at home, so they're both great options. I feel like if either team was to turn it on, Everton or Brighton, I think Everton could maybe cause Leicester a few more problems. But I just couldn't argue. Like if anyone wanted to captain Vardy, I just wouldn't argue against it. I just think when it's this close, a few Christmases ago when Ibrahimovic, when he was around, there was a midfielder doing. Was it Salah's season? Can't remember now. Might not have even been Ibrahimovic, but basically, when it's this tight, I just tend to go for the midfielder. Extra point for a clean sheet, extra point if he does score a goal. Just quicker to rack up the points, basically. Vardy does, from I mean, I've not checked many of the polls, but looking at people talking about it on YouTube, Twitter, and stuff like that, Vardy does seem to be the more popular option. And there's a really good reason for that. He's in great form. He scored. Has he scored in all of the last 5 games, or has he just got points in the last 5? I think he scored. Yeah, he scored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 goals in the last 5 games. Mane, though, to be fair, has scored 3 and 3, so pretty decent. And in the last kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games, has only blanked once. So it's close. You know, is Mane due? I don't like that actually. Is Mane due a double figure haul? Probably not a good way of looking at it. But Vardy's on penalties, as we saw last week. That really helped him. Yeah, I don't know. It's close. It's really close. I've put the captaincy poll up. If you want to vote on the polls, click in the top right corner. Click the little eye. We have got 3 polls, I think. So the best side to triple up on, your Gameweek 14 captain, and what to do with Abraham. And I've got a feeling the captain poll is going to be close between Mane and Vardy. Although it's a little bit of an odd one because I put Salah and Mane together because there's only so many places, so that's probably going to beat Vardy. But anyway, he's going to break his own record, 11 consecutive games. I will captain him till he blanks. Yeah, look, I might change it. It's very hard, especially when I've captained him the last 2 weeks and he's got 12 points each time. It is difficult just to jump off of him. Obviously, he scored against Brighton last week. That's who Mane is playing. Although Mane's at home, Vardy was away. Obviously, the big difference is Brighton have got Dunk back this week. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I'm just glad I own both, to be honest. Look, if Mane blanks and Vardy smashes it, that will hurt. But at least I've got both. You got 2 free transfers with nothing to do. I wish I had 2 free transfers. I'm probably not going to make any transfers this week. Now, that is dependent on Abraham. I think if Abraham's out for 2 to 3 game weeks, I may just get Ings. I may just get Danny Ings. I don't want to spend a hit necessary to put the money back into midfield. My worry is with Abraham is, so in the last 2 game weeks, I have basically spent points to kind of rectify bad decisions or to kind of try and catch up on transfers a bit, bringing in players that I know I'm going to want, Mane, Vardy, Jimenez, but not drawing it out over a load of game weeks. So basically just getting it done so I can be more reactive to kind of future, I don't know, injuries like this or future transfers that I want to make. And so part of me is just saying, just get rid of Abraham. You're going to be behind again otherwise, and you're going to have to rectify it next week. So it's difficult. I don't know how to play it. I'm kind of in 2 minds, I suppose, but whether just to get rid of him. But it's going to depend on what Lampard says. If he's just out for 1 game week, I'll probably keep him because the next 3 fixtures are still pretty decent, and I think that lets me play Maguire as well. What would Ings leave money in the bank? Good question. So it'd be 2.4 million he would leave in the bank. So I could upgrade. In fact, could I upgrade Madison? Where are you, Ings? I should really be doing this on the other screen, but it's too late now. So if I put Ings in, I'd have 9.9 million. So I could do Madison to Son. Oof, that sounds tempting. But I went off on a tangent then. The other thing I've considered, I've got enough money to do Mount to Lucas Moura if I'm confident that he's going to keep starting. I think the problem with Spurs is it's only been 2 games, as we've already said. And there's a lot of good players that haven't played yet, like Ndombele, Lo Celso, Lamela. They're not just going to be benched forever, so that does worry me a little bit. Or I could do De Bruyne to Son. I think Son's less likely to be rotated than Lucas Moura is. But it's hard to definitely know because Lucas Moura is someone that Mourinho has tried to sign before. Obviously, both going to speak Portuguese as well. So he's obviously an admirer of him. So maybe that is just going to be the first 11 for a while. Eriksen as well. I didn't even mention him, although he's probably not going to take a wing position. So yeah, part of me wants to just be a bit more aggressive and just do De Bruyne to Son or Mount to Moura. But part of me thinks the next game week is only going to be 2 days away once this one starts. probably should just keep my free transfers, even though that is the boring way. Okay, Arsenal lose. It's not. So someone was asking, or a few people were asking about Aubameyang earlier. I think he's an annoying one, to be honest. Because he started tonight and Lacazette hasn't. So straight away that tells you Lacazette's definitely starting the next game. I think in terms of kind of shots and stuff like that, he's been way ahead of Aubameyang in the last three or four game weeks. It's not looking good for Aubameyang. But he has, I think he scored tonight. And obviously there is, excuse me, there is a chance that obviously him and Lacazette continue to start. And let's remind ourselves, Aubameyang has not missed a single minute this year. Not just not started, not just started every game. He has not missed a single minute. So I can see why owners attempted to keep. And it's Norwich away, Brighton at home, West Ham away, and just looking there, so it's pretty decent. The thing with Aubameyang is, and when you have players that are that expensive, you're always just going to want to hold him for one more game. Did he score tonight, though? I thought he'd come on and scored. Aubameyang started. I thought Aubameyang had scored. Okay. Cheers, Daniel. Yeah, so I can see why you'd want to keep him for Norwich away and Brighton at home. But he's going to be that player. If he blanks again, you're going to be in exactly the same position. It's Brighton at home next, so I should keep him. Even though probably deep down you want to sell him. So I don't know. I don't think any player, especially Aubameyang, is a must-sell against Norwich. That's for sure. But you can probably get better value for money elsewhere. Who's the better asset, Jimenez or Pulisic? Oof. Honestly, that is so close. I think Jimenez just gives you guaranteed start time pretty much. Now, Pulisic does look pretty nailed on at this point. I think he's probably more likely to be rotated. The fixtures, I can't even remember what Jimenez's fixtures are like after Sheffield United. Let me remind myself. Yeah, they're about to come into being a mixed... They're probably a mixed bag, I would say. So, let me bring them up on the screen. They just have a few tricky fixtures here or there. But he did do pretty well against top teams last year. But this is Jimenez's fixtures. Sheffield United, West Ham, obviously decent. Brighton away. Then you got toughish match. Base at home, at least against Spurs. Then Norwich is decent. Man City and Liverpool is tough. And Vardy has the same. Vardy has... I think he plays the same two teams, but maybe in... I think it's the same game weeks. No. Yeah, I think it's the same game weeks, but opposite. Let me just... I can't double check. I'm going to have to... Hang on a sec. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, 18-19. Man City away and Liverpool at home. So, tricky couple of game weeks, but they are both nailed on, which makes me want to keep. Plus, it's Watford, Newcastle after that, Southampton. So, if he... Hang on. You can't say that Man United... I know it wasn't you specifically, but you can't say that Man United are not great because they've just conceded 3 Sheffield United and then say that Sheffield United is not a decent fixture when they've just conceded 3 to Man United. So, I... Personally, as much as I hate not owning Lundstrom, I feel like he's going to lose clean sheet this week. So he's just relying on attacking returns, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But yeah, what was the question? Jimenez versus Pulisic. Let me have a look. Yeah, see, next 4 for Pulisic are good. I don't know. I that's really tough, honestly. If you had to bring one in, I would go for which... I'm going to sit on the fence. I would go for whichever one. Like if you're already set up so you don't... Whichever one you don't need to use 2 transfers to bring in, basically. I do... The West Ham and Villa at home, I do really like those fixtures for Pulisic. I don't know. It's hard not to just go for Jimenez because he's been so good to me since I bought him in. And I just don't have any... I don't have any real fear that he's going to lose that form either. I've not really helped there at all, have I? I think if you have to make 2 transfers to get Pulisic in, I'd probably just get Jimenez. I don't think there's nothing bad about either of them really, apart from the potential maybe slightly higher rotation risk with Pulisic. Adama Traore. I know I can't say anything about him. He's got, what, 2 assists in the last 2 games now? Still not going to buy him. No way. Yeah, there's no real point in... I know obviously it's a stream, so people duck in and out, but there's probably no massive reason for me to keep talking about Abraham because I just don't know how bad the injury is yet. Okay, here's a new one. You're considering taking out De Bruyne for Son. So I've looked at this as well, and I'm still considering it. And one of the reasons I am wary, because I made that move before and then wanted De Bruyne straight back. The only difference is this time I don't necessarily want De Bruyne straight back. So I think I checked in the last 4 game weeks, if I'm remembering right, De Bruyne 15 chances created. That's 1 behind Trent. Trent's ahead of him, by the way, which is ridiculous. Which is obviously really good. Only 5 shots. Was it 5 in the box, 1 on target, or 5 shots and 1 in the box, something like that. Not very good anyway. So attacking potential in terms of goals probably not great. Obviously plays in a very good side. So when you're creating that many chances, you're gonna get assists. I think if you needed to captain one of them, De Bruyne or Son, in the next few fixtures, you'd probably go for Son. I think in the next 2, De Bruyne has 2 away games, Newcastle and Burnley, which I'm not massively confident about. I don't know. They're obviously not the same sides as they were a couple of years ago, but Newcastle and Burnley away games just wouldn't fill me with a huge amount of confidence. Son does have Man United away though, and Bournemouth at home, so he's probably slightly ahead. So I like the De Bruyne to Son transfer. I do like it. Obviously it's one of those that could backfire. I don't know. I'm super tempted to do it. I think that new manager bounce for Spurs. Hopefully it can continue. Plenty of goals for Son. Good next kind of 3 fixtures. Maybe it tails off a bit then. But yeah, I don't know. De Bruyne has been such good value for most of the season. He doesn't go many weeks without getting an attack and return. Not Man City over Christmas, I know. But I don't... Like, at the end of the day, this is the way I would be thinking about it. Because people will worry about having no Man City. Okay, so I've got De Bruyne, right? And no one's looking at my team thinking... I mean, there's probably some people, but most people aren't looking at my team thinking, oh, you've not got a Man City defender, you've not got Jesus, you've not got Sterling, what are you doing, right? So basically people are saying they're happy with me having De Bruyne, right? And maybe some of you are in a similar position. So, okay, you've only got 1 City, that's fine. Well, if you think Son is going to outscore De Bruyne, then it doesn't matter if you don't have De Bruyne. Yes, you got no Man City. Yes, maybe watching those Man City games will be a bit tougher. But it's literally the difference between one player. I think sometimes that psychological kind of thing that you haven't got City players plays on people's mind too much. So yeah, I don't think De Bruyne is like a must sell. I don't think you have to get rid of him at all. Obviously, I don't think he'll ever be like that. But De Bruyne to Son, I wouldn't not. Here's what I'll say: I wouldn't not do it just because you're worried about not having Man City. Like, whether you've got De Bruyne or not, if it's Sterling and Jesus scoring the goals, it doesn't make a difference. Barnsley or Taylor is a Burnley defensive option. I've not checked their attacking potential, but I quite like the fact that Taylor is such a cheap price, to be honest. So if I was getting one, he'd probably, unless there's massive difference in the attacking potential, I'd probably just go Taylor, I think. I think Barnsley's a little bit more, isn't he? And let me see. Bards. Oh, it's only 0.1 million though. That's a tough one. I'd have to go. I have not checked their attacking underlying stats, to be honest. I guess 0.1 million though. Just save it. He's still on course for a 200-point season. Madness to sell. Sure, but okay, we've had 13 games. From here on out, it's a 25-game shootout between Son and De Bruyne. Will Son be that far behind De Bruyne? Maybe. Maybe not. And also, it doesn't matter because you don't have to own both those players for the rest of the season. Like, Son is 19 points behind. 876. Must be close on minutes, actually. Yeah, De Bruyne's played about 100 more minutes, so he's been doing pretty well, to be fair. New manager, though, will that make a difference to Son? Who knows? At some point, you're probably going to want De Bruyne back. It's a bit different. I will say it is a bit different for me because, as we know, I took him out and bought him back in. So I'm having a look now. So I only paid 10.1 million for him. So I'm only losing 0.1 million unless he goes up massively. So yeah. It's consistency of starts for Son. Yeah, fair enough. But I think if you look at him, he is, since he first played in Game Week 3, like you say about consistency of starts, so this is interesting. And without going, this is a bit like Ings. I can't remember the Watford game, whether he came on or went off after 45 minutes. But apart from that Watford game in Game Week 9, he's basically started every single game. And he's played 90 minutes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times in 10 games. So if he started that Watford game, which I could just quickly check maybe, then he started every game. So consistency of starts hasn't been a problem so far. Points per match, let's have a look. Dun dun dun. Points per match, De Bruyne 6.9, the second highest for midfielders, by the way. 7.1 for Mane, 6.9 for De Bruyne, 6.5 for Salah. So still right up there, even though he's having a poor season by everyone talking about him. Son's down at 5.8, the same as Sterling. Here's a couple of interesting ones for you. Maddison's on 5.4. So he's only 0.4 behind Sterling and 0.4 behind Son. Pulisic is on 5.7 points per game. That is 0.1 behind Son, 0.1 behind Sterling. That is pretty nice, to be fair. Like Pulisic has been, I actually think Vardy's on 8 points per game, by the way. That's insane. That's like Salah levels from when he scored 300 points. What was I going to say? I actually think Pulisic is probably being a little bit underrated. He has scored 57 points. Alright, so where does that tally him altogether? Midfielders. Not points per match. All points. Where is he? How far down is he? 57 points. So that's 2 behind Mount. 3 behind Tielemans. 7 behind Son. And he's missed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5 games, 6 games where he hasn't started. Like he's been pretty damn sweet. You don't think Pulisic can keep it up? Perhaps not, but I mean, how much will he drop down? Has Willian gone under the radar? I think he has. I mean, he's cheaper than Pulisic. He's not far behind. He looks really nailed, but I don't know. Pulisic just seems like the man to go for right now. Opinion on Pulisic captain. I think that's a pretty nice differential this week. Against West Ham, they've been so poor. Obviously, it's a bit of a London derby, so you can't always be 100% how those matches are going to go. Maybe, I don't know, maybe West Ham will pull it out of the bag somehow, but it's a pretty nice fixture. And also Pulisic is quite the next Hazard, but he's kind of in that mould. Yeah, I'm kind of under the same thought process as Business Cat, really. I've backed William before in seasons gone past. It's never gone well for me. So that would put me off, even though he's been really... I mean, he's nailed at the moment, which is different to previous seasons. You should double up on Leicester defence. Yeah, I mean, I'm not against that, but one, I've already got 3 Leicester players. I'm not going to take out Maddison or Vardy to do that. And there's just other defenders as well that have got good fixtures. So I think people that were on Leicester double defence already, especially over the last kind of 3 or 4 games, they've absolutely smashed it. But yeah, not one for me, but can't argue against it. You're given many reasons to sell De Bruyne for Son, yet you're keeping him. Yeah, but there's reasons to keep De Bruyne, right? The next two fixtures are okay. He's been in great form for most of the season. Points per game, second highest for midfielders. Playing in a very attacking team. Can't really afford to rotate him that often, given how far behind Liverpool they are. So, yeah, there's plenty of reasons to potentially keep him. I think there's pros and cons to both. I don't think it's. I don't think he's essential to keep by any stretch. If someone wants to transfer out De Bruyne for Son, whoever it might be, I'd be fine with it. Like I wouldn't argue against it too much, but he's also been pretty damn good, and especially if you got him for like 9.5 million, it's probably fine to keep him as well. All right, before I forget, did want to do a quick shout out to the Patreon supporters, the producers, all on stream right now. So thanks very much for all your support. Everyone else who's signed up as well. The Slack channel is going great. Very very busy these days. Lots of discussion, lots of good points. So really enjoy reading that and getting involved with that. If you've not already checked it out and you want to support the channel a little bit more, there is a link in the description below. There will be a December league starting, you guessed it, in December. So if you signed up by the 1st of December, you'll be entered into that. The current league, let's just see how it is going right now. Dun, dun, dun. So this is, two people in 8th. So Nick, who won October's, is down in 8th at the moment. Probably a little bit far behind. 30 points is a lot to make up in one game, but you never know. So Dan is top. Got an 8-point lead over Adrian, so we'll see how that goes. Dean and Paul not very far behind. So if you want to get involved with the December League, just check out. This weekend counts as November because it starts on the 30th. So this one counts. If you want to get involved with December, make sure to click the link in the description below. And if you sign up for the middle tier or above, I will get the Slack link out to you ASAP. All right. If you haven't already, make sure to give the stream a like and go and vote on the polls as well, because we're going to do them very soon. We've got 3 to go through later on. Is it a concern to lose 0.4 million value on selling Abraham? This always comes up, right? And the answer is always the same. So you're not losing 0.4 million unless you need to buy him straight back. So if you sell him this game week and then you actually think that was a mistake, I've got to buy him back, then yeah, you've lost 0.4 million. If you're not going to want him back, if you're going to keep Ings for a little while, or whoever it might be, sorry, I'm assuming you're getting Ings, then you've got that 0.4 million bank to spend elsewhere. And you've got to think, if he is going to be injured long term, or he isn't going to do well now, if you think he's either going to be out of form or be injured, his price is going to go down anyway. So you don't. I think it's wrong when people see it as losing money. It's only money lost if you want to get him straight back. You've got Ings and his fixtures are really good, but when you've owned him in the past, he hasn't been any good, so you're worried. Well, the thing is there. It's too late now. You've got him, so don't panic about it. Connor Marsh, thanks very much for that. From all the way from New Zealand, much appreciated. Is it worth transferring Sterling out for Salah whilst owning Mane? So, I really like the Liverpool attacking double up for the next 4 game weeks. Obviously, we do have game week 18 to contend with, so the longer you leave it getting in this double Liverpool, whoever it might be, bringing in Liverpool players basically, the closer you're getting to having to maybe bench them or remove them in game week 18. But I am of the opinion that as long as Salah's ankle doesn't play him up, which maybe Klopp will talk about that in the press conference tomorrow a little bit more, Salah and Mane will outscore Sterling in the next 4 game weeks. That would be my bet, given the fixtures. So I don't see that as necessarily a bad move at all. So a player, the most it can lose in value and go up in value is 0.3 million in a week, basically. In a game week. Obviously, you've got to differentiate at the moment because we're about to have 3 game weeks in 1 week. Yeah, Salah being out last week was obviously an issue for owners last week, but it's kind of nice that he had his rest now, especially if you didn't get them in and you're still thinking about it. He's had his rest, he's played in the Champions League. Could be worth having. I do fully get it though. If you're still worried about the ankle injury, and if Klopp does say it's still an issue, you probably don't want to be bringing him in, especially for when you got Game Week 18 not too far away. So definitely something to consider. Would I do this for -4? Oh god, there's so many transfers. Maddison, Jimenez, Zaha in, Sterling, Hudson-Odoi. I mean, that looks like a great set of transfers to me. You got Sterling out, who, yes, he can punish you, blah, 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 as everyone will tell you, but you're not going to captain him over the next few... I don't think you are. Obviously, if you are, maybe that's a different story, but most people are not going to captain Man City players over the coming weeks. Hudson-Odoi is no good, and Greenwood doesn't play either, so it depends who your bench for is going to be. You get Maddison in, Leicester got good fixtures, Jimenez obviously in great form, and Zaha potentially about to smash it after finally getting his goal against Liverpool, could set him off. So if you're happy with those three players you're bringing in, I feel like that's similar to what I've done the last couple of weeks. You spent -4 to kind of reset your team a bit, kind of freshen it up, and if you're happy with the players, I think that's a decent set of moves. First season playing FPL, doing really well, but team value is low. Should you be worried? As Joe always says on the Scoutcast, points before pounds. If you're doing well and your team value is low, no point worrying about it. There's not really much you can do about it now. You kind of maybe missed a lot of the extra team value. But to be honest, if your team's doing well now still, then my team value was quite low, but I finally bought in Vardy, bought in Jimenez, bought in Maddison. They've been going up in price. So, yeah, okay, I didn't get team value at the start of the season, but been getting some since. Am I planning on making any transfers? How's it going, Mr. Dare? No, probably not. If Abraham's out for more than one game week, I might transfer him to Ings. Otherwise, I'm going to let Maguire come in if he's just out for one. What link do you press to join the December League? It's the Patreon link if you want to check that out. Make sure you read through it and all that jazz. Your team value is 105.7. Mine is not that much. It's 102.6. Ugh. It would have been higher, but you know, all that stuff. Okay. What else do we have here? You're going in circles talking about the same players. Yeah, fair enough. Firmino and Jesus. Alright, hang on a sec. Let me just sort this out. I think that's the second time he's been doing that. Yeah, okay, fair enough. So Firmino and Jesus. So I think Firmino is an interesting... I'm just going to check out his stats a sec. It's an interesting way of doubling up on the Liverpool attack for 4 very good fixtures, and I think these are really, really nice fixtures coming up. So Brighton at home, Everton at home, while Everton are in trouble as well. Although, like I said earlier, not conceding a huge amount of shots. Bournemouth away and Watford at home, and so the only away game is Bournemouth, and I think that's not a bad away game to have. So really good. I guess from a almost like a analytical point of view, that's really hard to say. Firmino does sometimes feel like one of those players you bring in, then does absolutely nothing. Then he'll go on a run, and you'll have him at the wrong time. But I think it's an interesting, different way to double on the attack if you can't afford Mane and Salah. But the thing is, he's taken up a striker spot. It's the same as Jesus. They're taking up a striker spot. Yeah, okay, Abraham might be out now, but you've got Jimenez, Rashford, Vardy doing with good fixtures, doing really well for the same or less money, and that's what will make me struggle to get Firmino and Jesus in. I think out of the two, I actually prefer Firmino basically because of the fixtures. The problem with Jesus, as we just talked about with De Bruyne and Sterling, fixtures aren't fantastic. He's still 9.5 million, and as soon as Aguero is back, he's no longer an option. So I don't know. I'm looking at Firmino now. Oh, I've got the wrong I got the wrong thing up. Hang on a sec. Just let that load. So yeah, I'm not a fan of either. If I had to pick one, I'd probably go Firmino. Firmino was great for you last Christmas, and that's what I'm saying. Like he's the kind of player that could go on a bit of a run, get in a bit of form. Like I think Mane and Salah, you're pretty confident, injuries aside, they're going to be consistently pick up points over the season. I don't know if you could be as happy with Firmino about that, but if you look at the last 4 games, he's had 12 shots in the box, which is pretty decent. Not many players are ahead of him on that, so he's getting the shots in. I think that's a nice differential. Jesus, I'm not interested in Jesus at all, to be honest. Like in the past, you know, Man City attacker, you can get him for 9.5 million. The Man City striker can get him for 9.5 million. It's just a different game now with the likes of Mane and co doing so well. So there you go. We talked about some different players. Vote on the polls. We're going to do them in like a minute before I get shouted out too much. There's only 3, so if you go and quickly vote and I'll click the little eye in the top right corner. He is also 9.5 million. Yeah, absolutely. And again, it depends on what your team structure is, but for me, when I think 9.5 million, I think that's virtually Vardy's price. If you can afford him, like maybe you've got a structure with a premium forward, then that's a bit different. Whenever Jesus starts, he returns, or has returned. Yeah, and maybe that will continue. I don't know. Maybe it will be a good pick. It's a lot of money for a player I'm definitely not going to captain, and as soon as Aguero is back, he's suddenly a worry. So, not for me. He's not one for me, but that shouldn't stop you getting him. Is having a City asset essential? We kind of already talked about that. Too long, didn't read. I can't remember the way you phrased it. No, it's not essential. Okay. Where is the polls? All right, we're refreshing. How's the new job been? Yeah, we can talk about non-kind of stream FPL stuff at the end. We'll finish up soon enough. Okay, Abraham, keep or sell? 76% saying keep. Obviously, this is a tricky poll to completely to answer. I don't know, like honestly or whatever, because we don't know, how long he's going to be out for. But 76% saying keep, so a high score for that. Your Gameweek 14 captain, Vardy 40. I told you this would be close. Vardy 44%, Mane or Salah 43%. Now that's interesting because obviously I've put Mane and Salah together, so it's like kind of 2 versus 1. I'm assuming Salah's not high up on a lot of people's lists, but Vardy winning 44%. Ouch. Could hurt if he hauls again. Probably going to have an effective ownership of over 100%. Basically what that means is every time he scores, if you haven't captained him, he's adding to a red arrow essentially. But obviously not owning him would be worse in that case. But yeah, Spurs attacker 5%, Man City attacker only 2% and 3% on someone else. And the best side to triple on out of Leicester, Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs and Man City. There's about 417 votes for that. Only 4 people said Man City. 64% on Leicester, obviously offering such good value. Everyone's got a defender plus Vardy, maybe plus 1. 21% on Liverpool, the old must have triple up. 9% on Chelsea, only 2% on Spurs, and like I said, 0% for people on Man City. You wish FPL had a Black Friday sale. Me too. I'd love to get that guy called John Lundstrom for £4 million. That'd be an absolute bargain, I would say. Quick chat on Palace. I mean, let's bring their fixtures up, right? Because to be fair, I will say, Mr. Business Cat in the chat, he kind of, I don't know how I missed this, but Crystal Palace's fixtures are kind of a little bit insane how good they are for how long they're good for. So I don't even think this will fit on the screen. I don't know how readable that is. I mean, yeah, of course there's away games thrown in like everyone's going to have, but there's only, this is what, 14 to 30, and they play top 6 sides. They only play Arsenal, and it's at home anyway. Could be decent enough. And Man City away. That's it. Every other side's outside the traditional top 6. So Zaha's obviously an option. Zaha is one of those players, again, this isn't like an analytical thing, nothing to do with stats. He's one of those players I just feel like he's always frustrating when you own him. He just never performs how you kind of feel like he should. He's a good player. He should do better than he sometimes does. But when you see those fixtures, there's worse punts out there for sure. I think Van Arnold, obviously like him, can be very attacking. Just at the moment, the way the defenders are and how cheap they are, I don't know if I'd want to spend the money on him. Ayew up front could be a cheap enabler, similar price to Muse. And the goalkeeper, Guaita, is obviously a really nice, which is kind of how this came up originally. People were looking at Pope replacements. So he could be a good option as well. Super Tiger, mentioned Millie to you last stream. He's under the radar that picks up more points than people expect. And he's a Baps magnet. I mean, if they've got that, if they got those fixtures and Zaha in form, the penalties are coming. But he's only scored 2 goals so far this season in 13 games. So if he kept that up for the rest of the season, he'd only be on 6. Pretty poor. So maybe they're getting a few less penalties this year. But yeah, I think Crystal Palace definitely got some options. I mean, Zaha's only 6.6 million, so he's potentially a Mount replacement. We haven't talked about Mount actually. Now he didn't start again in Europe, so that does probably mean that he's going to start this week. But going forward, that does worry me a little bit. I know Man City game was tough, and so was the Villarreal game. So maybe that's why they played Jorginho, Kovacic, and Kante in both games. Maybe Mount is just a bit more of a liability in those big games, but it does worry me kind of long term for him. So I think I'll probably move him on sooner rather than later. But if he looks likely to start against West Ham of all teams, I'm going to want to keep him. So Zaha could be a potential straight swap. He's only 6.6 million. Aston Villa midfielders, someone talking about Grealish there. The problem is for me, the next 3 are Man United, Chelsea and Leicester. The first 2 are away. So I wouldn't be going anywhere near them right now. I know they're in pretty good form and they've done well this season, but not for me. I mean, Hurahan's a pretty decent option. He did really well in the last game. But yeah, the fixture's just not there. Good fixtures come to an end soon. Not that quick. I mean, the next 4 fixtures are pretty good for Chelsea. West Ham, Villa, Everton, Bournemouth. They're pretty decent. Then Spurs away, which is tricky, so maybe Mount will miss that. Then Southampton at home. I think the fixtures are actually pretty nice for a little while, but not for a player that's going to potentially miss out on the harder ones. That is pretty annoying. And Chelsea won neither games without him. Yeah, good point. He's definitely going to come back for West Ham. But the thing is, I don't think he's been... Let me just have a quick look at this, because I should have checked already. Mount. Okay. Just bringing... I want to see what positions he's been playing. So I don't think he's played number 10. I don't think this isn't actually going to show me, is it? I'm looking on Transfer Market. It's just going to say AM, CM. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure he's got like... I'm not sure he's been playing completely in that number 10 position we really want him to play in. Not that he can't play in other positions, but I'd have to double check exactly where he's been playing. So what's he got? 1, 2, 4 goals so far this season, 2 assists. Decent enough. But the problem is he's blanked in the last 3. So I think, yeah, I should check the Heat-maps actually. But I thought he'd been playing kind of left mid, so that would have showed up on Transfer Market. Not like left mid like Pulisic, but anyway, I think West Ham and Villa at home are pretty good starting points for getting some goals. Sterling hat-trick imminent. I mean, I would say based on what? I mean, just not getting a hat-trick doesn't mean a hat-trick is due as such. Yeah, I must admit, for those still kind of talking about Abraham, I do think it seems pretty likely he will miss this game because they have got other players they can bring on. Just give him the time off and let him play the next game week. But we'll see what Lampard says. All right, I'm going to leave it there, the FPL stuff. If you want to talk about anything else for 5-10 minutes, we can. For those that are kind of joined for the FPL stuff, thanks very much. Make sure to give the video a like if you've enjoyed it. For my audacity to wear a green hoodie with a green screen. So yeah, a like would be appreciated. Subscribe if you're new around here. We're still trying to hit that 2.7 million subscriber mark. So make sure you do that. Leave a comment below, all that good stuff. And if you want to stick around talking about whatever the hell you want, we can do that for a few minutes. But if you're just here for FPL, now is the time to tune out. Don't watch the rest and then moan at me there's no FPL. Why is everyone overlooked Zuma? Because everyone has Tomori, I think, basically. And I think Tomori, I mean, we'll see next game. There's a few people worried he's going to be benched. I'm not sure about that myself. But he seems to have played himself into being the number one behind Rudiger. Gym stuff, yeah, gym stuff's going okay. I think the accountability, having to tweet it every day, has really helped. There's, like today, obviously started a new job and stuff. I need to get myself more organised, basically. And so I've been a bit out of whack, out of sync to how I normally would be. Because obviously you have a routine. When you go to an office, you get up, you go to the office, you come back, then you're not working. But working from home has been like a bit of a culture shock, I suppose. It's going well, but it's just very different. So I'm getting used to it. And so I'm pretty happy that I've not missed a day still from doing exercise, basically. How's the dog? Everyone. The dog is great. We've had her since Monday. She is sleeping through the night, which is so good. She's like, we're going to bed at like 10:30, 11 most nights or whatever. And she's going to like she'll already be knackered now, so we're trying to like wear her out basically. And yeah, she's sleeping until about 6:30 in the morning. That's when we get up anyway. So that's pretty good. She's already learnt to sit. I think that's quite easy. I think golden retrievers generally are pretty intelligent. But yeah, she's already sitting. Sometimes she ignores us. I mean, she is still a baby basically. But yeah, she's pretty good for that. Potty training or toilet training is doing pretty well as well, actually. She's actually getting to the point now where she'll stand by the front, because she's mostly staying in the front room. So she'll actually stand looking at the door as if to say, get me the hell out of here. The kid's Irish, so yeah, he has an Irish accent. Am I doing FPL Fit December? I am pretty tempted just to keep on going right up till Christmas. I'm feeling like when I stop on November the 30th, that's 30 days, obviously. And so if I did it for another 3 weeks, that would take me up to the 21st. And one of the things that I did I actually did something, not everyday exercise, but I really hit the food and stuff well this time last year. And then I went away for Christmas and I just kind of undid everything. Whereas this year I'm staying at home for Christmas. And so I've got no excuse not to keep going to the gym. So I just want to keep going. Like I said, the accountability has been really good for me. I know people are probably bored of hearing about it, but I have set it up in a way that I always reply to the same conversation and I always use the same hashtag, so you can mute both of them. You don't have to look at it. So probably gonna I might just keep going, even if I just go for like a 2 mile. Like today, I just did a 2 mile walk, like 28 minutes. That's still at least getting moving a bit. I want to start doing, basically in between weights, I want to do different kind of cardio. I don't want to just go for a walk. Like on the weekends, I can go for longer. During the week, it's a bit tougher, but maybe we're going to do some more rowing and stuff. Like I said, I need to get my time more organised. Yeah, basically when I'm working from home, I need to get more organised. Has Az given up FPL? No, he's writing articles and stuff for Scout. Would your kid play for Ireland or would he do a Declan Rice? I'll tell you what, if he's no good, we'll let him play for Ireland. If he's amazing, I'll make him play for England, alright? How about that? Seen your first Scout video earlier. Yeah, go and check that out on Fantasy Football Scout. I did a video today, a little Q&A. Obviously, there's always going to be some overlap in the stuff we talk about, but that was kind of I think what I'm going to try and do with that video is like when I do the preview, I kind of talk about a topic generally. Whereas for that one, I want to do like a Q&A, your specific question. Like even if it's like, should I sell X for X? Because that is a bit different then. So I know sometimes I cover that, but obviously trying to differentiate a little bit. So yeah, should be doing that most weeks. Obviously, I did a content plan earlier for December. It just gets manic with the game week. So we'll see what happens. All right, what else have we got here? Can we get an ambulance for Oshin? I mean, if you're still watching the Patreon League, it's all explained in the link below. So just a way to support the channel if you want to. You don't have to. It's like none of my content is locked behind a paywall or anything like that. It's only the Slack channel, which is really good. There's loads of cool discussion in that, but there's no videos locked behind that or anything. Thoughts on Mount to Pulisic? I like it. The thing is, you have to be pretty confident the Mount will play this week, so that will probably put me off a little bit. But longer term, Pulisic is definitely the better option. What YouTube channels do I watch? I mean, right now, if you go on my home screen, you'll see a lot of golden retriever videos from whoever. There's actually a guy that I watch sometimes. My son likes watching him too. Well, it's him and her actually. What is their... I can't remember what they're called, but they basically does Super Cooper Sundays. It's basically a golden retriever and another dog. I can't remember what breed it is. I like most of True Geordie's stuff as well. I'm just waiting for him to invite me on the podcast, to be honest. I think the problem is now he's too big to invite the likes of me on. What's a good app to keep up with press conferences? I don't know if there's an app specifically that targets press conferences, but you could try OneFootball. If there was any big news from press conferences, they would have it. And obviously Scout do a team news video as well every kind of Friday, sometimes Thursday as well. That will be pretty much just going to Fridays from now on to cover everything. What else we got here? True Johnny's a fruity fella. Yeah, we won't talk about those messages and stuff. How long before my first Fenton moment? You've lost me, I think. Favourite British sitcom? Oh, and this is a tough one. Oh, Jesus Christ! I think it would have to be Only Fools and Horses. I don't think you can say it's not aged. I mean, there's just some jokes in there that you wouldn't get away with these days, but it still makes me laugh even to this day. So I do really like Only Fools and Horses. It's a bit of a classic. All right, what else we got? Should follow. I'll get over my golden retriever video obsession soon. I've got my own one now. Drunk stream. Don't expect that anytime soon. I've never watched Fenton on YouTube, no. Grass or AstroTurf? Grass, I guess, the real thing. What TV shows am I watching at the moment? At the moment, I'm watching Suits, which, I mean, if anyone asked me what Suits was like, I would say it's a bit rubbish, but it's just like easy to watch. I can't say it's that rubbish because I'm like 3 series and 7 episodes through or something. Who's going to win, AJ versus Ruiz? I mean, I hope AJ wins, but I don't really know much about boxing, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, Alan Partridge is great for sure. Suits gets awful. I mean, yeah, my missus asked me the other day why was the acting so bad. She said, is the acting supposed to be this bad? I was like, that's the princess you're talking about. I'm not going to answer that, Sean, because I don't know what I'm letting myself in for. Thoughts on Brandon Williams? I mean, I don't know how far away Luke Shaw is, but once he's back, I don't think Brandon Williams will keep his place. Do I have an Amazon Prime account for Gameweek14? I don't, but I will. Ketchup in the fridge or the cupboard? The cupboard until it's open, and then the fridge. Alright. We'll be on for another minute or so, and then we are done for tonight. It's 10 past 10. You know, getting tired. It's getting past my bedtime. We've got to say goodnight to the dog as well before she's out for the night. Am I buying something on Black Friday? I really would love a new computer. I just don't think I can afford what I want. I've had this, like in May, I will have had this computer 8 years. I need an upgrade for doing all this stuff now. It's taken too long. So soon, hopefully, I'll be able to get the money towards that. Obviously, I'd love to buy it during Black Friday, but if I ain't got it now, it's job done. All right, I think. Okay, that's fair enough. I'll remind you of my likely moves just before we leave, because it is an FPL show after all. My likely moves are keep and just stick to what I've got. Let Maguire come in for Abraham. If Abraham's out for more than one game, might switch into Ings. Mount and De Bruyne to Son or Mora. So Mount to Mora or De Bruyne to Son is a consideration. But I probably won't do it, to be honest. I think there's another game week so soon after. I'll just go into that with 2 free transfers. So if Abraham's confirmed out for more than one game, probably get Ings. Otherwise, just stick. Let Maguire come in if needed. Don't have the headache of who to bench out of Soyuncu, Tomori and Maguire. Because as you all know, I want to play Maguire for his last game. And then in game week 15, no matter what happens, Lundstrom comes in. That's right. John Lundstrom will be in my team. The moment you've been waiting for. All right, I'm going to leave now. If you haven't already, make sure to give the video a like, subscribe if you're new around here, leave a comment below. Do appreciate it, as always, for all the support. If you want to check out OneFootball Patreon, links are in the description below. I will see you. I'm going to have to see you Sunday because, yeah, there's going to be no Monday game. So we'll see you Sunday for a stream, and I'll have all my content out by the time the game week comes around on Tuesday night. Will we do a deadline stream? I don't know. Either way.